Virtual Vape Land, thank you for tuning in. This is RVA Vapes Reviews with the Mesh Pro from DigiFlavor.
And here we have a good look at the packaging. You can see the serial number on the back, the barcode, little verification deal. So this one is the blue one. Comes with a little extra drip tip. Let's see if I can, oh, there we go. And you can see it's a smaller drip tip, but it fits perfectly, so that's really cool. Then in here we've got our information. This one is our little warranty cards. Nice little envelope there. If I could just get it back in. Whatever. There we go. Then this guy is the manual, which is very nice, detailed with pictures. But I don't know how many languages are in here. But there's only 5 pages of English, so I'm guessing there's quite a few different languages. Here's your little baggie with your tri-tool. There's your bottom feeding pin right there. Then you've got some screws and a 510 adapter. And you also get these 3 pieces of mesh. So first we're going to take our little tri-tool, the big side of the flathead, pull out your 510 pin that's in there, and this is, oh yeah, make sure that you hold down the center plate when you're unscrewing this, that way nothing comes out of alignment. You can see a little bit better here what I'm talking about. So just by holding that center plate right there, that allows you to take the original pin out, and then we're going to put the 510 bottom feeding pin in with the middle part of the tri-tool, which is made specifically for that, and everything lines up perfectly. Ta-da! Just make sure it's good and tight. If you notice, it's raised up a little bit. So now we're going to break this down, and I'm going to show you how to build it. Starting off with our Nichrome N80 and some cotton bacon. So I just pull out a chunk of the cotton bacon, measure the diameter, or across the diameter. This is a 24 millimeter Addy, so and we're going to cut the whole chunk out. I'm not going to pull it or separate it at all. Once we got that, we're going to install one of the sides of the mesh. And you got to make sure this is straight, because if it's not straight, it's going to make it harder to line it up, but it's also going to give you a little bit of a weird burn pattern, so it would be advantageous to do that. Then we're going to roll it over and just give it a little forming so that we know we're good. Then you just take your whole cotton that you cut off, stick it inside the mesh, and then push it over to the other side and simply clamp it down. You do want to make sure that you pull it back off once you get it all the way in there, because you could cause a dead short if you don't pull it back up just a smidge. So I'm going to cut a little bit of this off just because it's not quite short enough to really be nice and tight on the cotton the way we want it. So here you just trim off a little bit, however much cotton that you've got in there. This is what I'm cutting off. And then as you see, you just push the cotton back up in there a little bit so you can get clearance, and slide it right down inside the housing, just like so. And again, make sure it's straight so you don't get a weird burn pattern or anything like that. And don't squeeze too hard, because it's obviously a softer metal. You can't deform it. Then all you got to do is tighten this side up, and you're done. That's it. That's all you got to do. Tighten this guy up, and you just built yourself a RDA. Might have been the fastest build tutorial I've ever done. So today we're using our Philip Rock Max 100. This juice is similar to Looper, made by the same company, but branded under a different line. So when you're wicking it, especially for the first time, you want to make sure that you put a lot of juice on there, but you also want to pulse the mesh. The reason we're pulsing this mesh is because we want to make sure that the cotton gets really good and saturated, but the mesh is also going to absorb a little bit of it because you've got pockets in between each one of those weaves. So as we're pulsing it, we're preparing the coil. Now, the last little trick that I have is I just push the cotton back up underneath the mesh and make sure it's nice and tight. We want it packed inside that mesh as much as we can. Obviously, don't overdo it because then you're going to have wicking problems. So you can see here the resistance, 0.14, and I'm running it at right around 3 volts. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. So now, I want to give this guy a vape.
So, as you can see, they really have kind of changed the game, in my opinion, with this deck design. So, raising that deck up and putting that plate underneath so you're not just flush against the deck trying to jam all that cotton in there, I think is really, really improved an already outstanding Mesh RDA experience. With the Mesh Pro RDA, you get 2 upgraded features from any other Mesh RDA out there. You get the raised up deck like we just talked about, but you're also getting that raised up squonk pin. And what that bottom feeding pin sticking out, as we showed you earlier, does for you is it's not going to let all the juice go back into the bottle. So you're actually going to be able to completely fill up that juice reservoir underneath. Now, it's a single screw on each side of the deck, so it's not as complicated to tighten down as any of the other decks. And the way that they've got it set up is you could pretty much just drop that mesh down in there till it stops, and then I pull it back up just a little bit like you saw, so that you're not getting any hard short or grounding problems. You get a nice clean vape that way. So they also give you 3 different types of mesh. You've got your Kanthal mesh, your nichrome N80, which we used, and stainless steel 316 mesh. In my opinion, all 3 of those are going to complement different types of flavors differently. You saw I used the Philip Rock Max 100 on my build because it's a nichrome build, and nichrome builds, in my opinion, have a much better flavor with dessert bakery type stuff. It's going to give you a lot more of those creamy, desserty, savory type of notes, and that's what I really like in my cereal vapes. I want that rich cream factor, so that's why I paired that with the nichrome mesh build. By raising up the deck, they've also allowed the airflow to go underneath the coil as well as skip over top of it. So you're going to get a lot more flavor than we already got out of Mesh RDAs, which is a huge, huge improvement for me. But also with the plate there, you don't have to use nearly as much cotton, and that allows for more airflow as well, and I think that's also going to enhance the performance on this thing. Obviously, with this deck design, you can put round wire builds in here too, single coil, dual coil, it doesn't really matter. Sure, if you got creative, you could do triple, quad coils and all kinds of stuff, but it's really designed for the mesh. Now, it comes in 4 different finishes, as you see here. For the price, for the quality, and for the performance that you're getting, it's really a home run in my personal opinion. I'm still kind of new on the mesh stuff. I'm still playing with it, trying to figure out exactly where it fits compared to some of the best other styles of rebuildables that are out there. But the mesh to me is really the game changer. It's the new revolution. It's the next thing that I think is going to be huge in vaping. So for cons on this guy, it doesn't spit. It's squonkable, so leaking is, if it leaks, it's your fault. It's easy to build. It's good quality materials. Unless you don't like rebuildables, I don't think there is a con here. To be quite honest with you, it has everything that I would look for from a design standpoint, and it also looks really, really cool. I mean, look at that finish. Tell me that is not gorgeous. It's got plenty of airflow. As you can see, I've got mine turned down just a little bit because my battery is running low, so I didn't want to overpower it, and I still want good flavor. And even with the turn down airflow, I mean, look at that vapor. And that's at 2.7 volts. That's ridiculous. I have found that mesh likes to perform around 3 volts. For wicking purposes, flavor purposes, heat purposes. For me, it works best right around 3 volts. And with this build being 0.12, that ends up being about 60 to 65 watts in that range. Let's push it up to 75 just for funsies. 75 right at 3 volts. Wowza. That is good. I did get a little bit of a dry hit there, and you can see that it's getting a little bit of brown spotting right there on the coil itself. But overall, the wick is still fairly saturated. You can start to see a little bit of white peaks in the cotton. And that's really the whole downside I've found with mesh. That's it. It's just that because there's so much surface area there, all of this has to be saturated before you're going to get maximum amount of flavor. Because if it's a little bit dry over here, or if it's a little bit dry right in there, you hit it, that dry spot, it's going to be toasty. But as long as it's still saturated and it's nice and tightly packed or cotton around that coil, it is beautiful. So with the pros, it's domed inside the top cap, which adds to the flavor. The deck is raised up so you can see that the airflow comes underneath of there. I shoot it right at the coil just like a traditional RDA. I don't need nearly as much cotton. I don't need nearly as much power, and it holds a pretty good amount of juice. So pros, if you're looking for a tasty, inexpensive, easy to build mesh RDA, I would recommend the Mesh Pro. We're going to put up a coupon code right here so that you can pick yours up for 10% off on our website, shop.rvavapes.com. And check out some other stuff we got. Stuff on sale. We got all kinds of goodies. We got some new mods coming in. If you like mesh, we have a whole section for mesh now so that you can see what we got in stock. We should be getting the Kanthal, nichrome, and stainless steel rolls of mesh very soon. I don't have an exact date yet because I haven't got the tracking for it, but keep an eye out for that because that will be coming in very, very soon. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot else to tell you about this Mesh Pro RDA. Mine's a little bit dry, so we're going to put some juice on that pussy. I did over drip it a little bit. You can see that little puddle there. But we got some juice on that bad boy. We're at 75 watts. Woohoo! That is a tasty vape. I can taste the milk with a little bit of the fruit circular type of cereal. I almost said the L word. But all in all, it's a really solid RDA. Probably one of the best RDAs I've tasted in over a year or two. So, kicking off the new year, we got some great stuff that I've seen coming out. We're not going to be doing a giveaway this week because this one is mine. I bought it, I'm keeping it, and it is delicious. But you can pick up yours with our coupon code at our website. Make sure you click the subscribe button and check out all of our other videos that we got. We're going to be dropping them every Saturday, so make sure you tune in for the latest installment of RVA Vapes Reviews. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate your time, and if you want to smoke, that's your business. If you want to quit, holler at us.